And welcome back to the channel where we talk about only good comics. I'm Brant, and this is First. This is that series where we talk about those brand new number one issues, new character debuts, new story arcs, and the like. And this is for books that are coming out on October 15th, 2025. This past week was a huge week. We had Age of Revelation on the Marvel side starting off. We had DC K.O. We had Absolute Batman with Catwoman in. So many books that came out last week. So it's been a huge week and another huge week to come. So we got a lot to talk about. Before I get into my recaps this week, I will say that I did start back up on the TikTok channel this week. So I have reviews of some of the Age of Revelation books up there and DC K.O. So if you want to hear some more thoughts on those books, go check out at Only Good Comics on TikTok. And yeah, I'm going to continue to post short minute-ish reviews up there. And of course, tune into Comic Book Weekly on Tuesday, where we will be talking about DC K.O. and everything else going on. And Kat's at New York Comic Con right now, so she'll probably talk about that a little bit. So a lot to talk about on Comic Book Weekly, but that's Tuesday. This is Friday, so let's get into the recaps from last week, which I have a lot of books to talk about just recapping. I've read 5 books that I'm going to talk about on this show before we get into the firsts for next week. So first up, we're talking X-Men Age of Revelation, and the first one is World of Revelation, issue number 1. This is a 40-page book, and it's written by Al Ewing with art by Augustin Alessio. So this was the one that I was kind of on the fence about. I wasn't sure how it was going to affect everything going into the overall series, and we did find out a little bit about what happened to certain characters throughout this book, and it wasn't good. The things that happened to the people in this book, we learned what happened to the Fantastic Four. We learned what happened with Wiccan and Hulkling, and we found out how Apocalypse is getting involved in this story. So I'll admit, the first story, the main story, the lead story in this book, it was hard for me to get into because of the way that it was presented to us. It was a lot of prose with some panels to just show the highlights of the events that were going on, but it was all in the voice, the narrator of this character that was traversing through Araco trying to get to Apocalypse. And when he takes his hood off, spoiler alert, if you have not read this yet, I am going to spoil who this character is right now. It was Professor X. So Professor X coming face to face with Apocalypse, and both of them realizing that they've got to solve this revelation problem. So that's your lead story. Then we learned what happened with Hulkling and Wiccan, and brutal outcome there for Wiccan in particular, and it shows the merciless, heartless being that Revelation has become, and what he can do to people that cross him. And then, of course, the Fantastic Four, Franklin, the sole survivor of the Fantastic Four, and what happens to him and his journey throughout life was just kind of sad to watch. So just a sad story to unfold. Didn't love this issue, to be quite honest, but I did like the impact of the end of that first story and what that could mean for the Age of X-Men. I keep calling it the Age of X-Men. X-Men Age of Revelation going forward. Next one, staying within X-Men Age of Revelation, is Amazing X-Men issue 1, which this one is written by Jed McKay with art by Mohamed Asrar. And I did do a review on this on TikTok, so if you want to go check that out. But basically, Cyclops is taking that leadership role. Of course, his mind from the present day is transported into his future version, and he's taking the leadership, but things go haywire real fast, and the X-Men are down several members. The death toll continues to rise in this issue, and everything just looks really grim for the X-Men at this stage as they're trying to escape the territory so they can get into another place where Revelation is not kind of overseeing everything that they do so they can escape the assassin out to get them. But where they end up going just puts them in more danger as they come face to face with an old friend that is not too happy to see them as well. So this was actually a really good issue. It surprised me how much I enjoyed this issue. I really felt enthralled with this entire event through this issue, and it actually got me excited to continue on with this event, which was something that I was not. I was not excited about this event. This event going into it, I didn't feel like there was enough buildup. I didn't understand why this was happening just out of nowhere, and but this got me pumped for it a little bit. So enjoyed this issue. Next is Binary issue number 1. This is also part of Age of Revelation, and this is all about Carol Danvers, who now is bound with the Phoenix Force. We learn what happened to Jean Grey. At least we are told what happened to Jean Grey, and how Carol became bonded with the Phoenix Force. And at the end of the issue, a familiar face pops up. We are led to assume that this is going to be the villain. I think everybody will recognize this person right away. Which one it is, though, because it could be one of two people, and I'm leaning towards the other one, aside from the obvious. So that's going to be interesting to see her come face to face with that particular character, given the power set that she now possesses. And all the humans were either mutated or killed off when this gene bomb was exploded. So does that mean Carol Danvers is a mutant now? Are all the inhabitants of the world mutants? So that's how she's able to be in the story, and I'm curious to see how the Phoenix Force plays into the plans either for the rebellion or for Revelation. Next is Laura Kinney's Sabretooth issue 1, the last X-Men Revelation title I'm going to talk about because I haven't had a chance to read long shots yet. But this one actually liked a lot as well. Laura has a son with, and she has a connection to Sabretooth, and that's why she takes on the mantle. So all that is explained, and it makes perfect sense why she's Sabretooth now. Why her allegiances are with Revelation are unclear, but she interacts with Gabby and Helverine, Fang, Akihiro in this issue as well, and they're on the opposite side. And so seeds are planted in other characters' minds. Hellion is involved with this. Revelation's starting to have doubts about about Laura's loyalties and all of that. So you've got betrayal simmering, and you've got Gabby and Aki and some of the other characters trying to escape the territory. Revelation trying to convince Laura why that's a bad idea. He's trying to keep control and all this stuff. So it's a lot of drama unfolded in this. You had a fight between Gabby and Laura, which was kind of iconic given their history. So that was fun to watch as well. So this one surprised me also, and I'm excited about this one too. I'm excited about a lot of the X-Men Age of Revelation stuff, and I couldn't say that previously. And then finally, the last book I'm going to talk about, of course, is DC K.O. And I'm going to keep this brief. I did do a TikTok on this, but I'm going to give my complete thoughts on Comic Book Weekly when, Kat, Mike, and I get together and talk about this. But I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm going to give you my general thoughts on this. So if you read it, you know that a good portion of the book was a lot of exposition, a lot of talking heads. But when we got into the action part, it really took off. And I know some people have, issues with the setup part of it, but I think it was necessary, especially if you had not been following the other books. But even if you had been reading Superman, Aquaman, Justice League and stuff, I feel like there was information here that we didn't know. And it continues from that Justice League Omega Act special where Doomsday and Booster Gold, or Time Trapper and Booster Gold, are approaching the Justice League and trying to lay out the plan for them. So in this, they get the full plan as to what they actually have to do. And this is the parts that we didn't know, is that basically this tournament is a necessity because there's a heart of apocalypse at the core of the earth. And the time travelers, well, I don't want to spoil it. The time travelers know things, they've seen things play out, and they have the ultimate plan that leads to this tournament that they have to compete against each other to win. And the only way to beat Darkseid is to win this tournament so that they can be an equal force or an opposite force against him. And so anybody that filled out those brackets and you had certain characters going all the way, I think for a lot of people that was busted immediately by the end of this issue. We got a couple of big cliffhangers. There might be a traitor in the midst. So it just exploded towards the end of this. And I felt like the beginning of it was kind of beautifully laid out. It was set in chapters. You had a moment where they all got to spend time with their families and each other and kind of prepare for the battle ahead and all of this stuff. So it was like this drama unfolding, building up, building and building. And then you got that climax where everything just went crazy. And so really great start to this event. I'm super excited about this. And now with the unpredictability presented to us in this issue, anything could happen. So I'm here for it. But that is all of the recaps I got. So we're going to go into some honorable mentions and a shout out before we get into our first for the week. All right, our first honorable mention is Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, issue number 1. This is tied into the latest animated series. So if you're a fan of this new animated series, I have not watched it yet. But if you're a fan of it, you might want to check this one out. This is written by Mikey Levitt, who did Tales of the TMNT, or was on Tales of the TMNT production team. So has kind of an in there, and Louis Joyce is the artist in this, and I've seen Louis Joyce's art before. Really nice art style. So if you're a fan of this animated series, go check it out. The next honorable mention is Dungeons and Dragons: The Fallbacks, issue 1. This is basically a ragtag kind of backup team that has to jump into action. This is written by Greg Pak with art by Wilton Santos. So if you are a big D&D fan or you like this concept, you might want to check this one out as well. This one is from Dark Horse. Next up is Craniacs, issue 1. This is from Titan Comics. And this is written by Shali Fish, who has done a lot of Archie and Sonic and that kind of thing. And the art is by Joe Simcoe. And this is kind of like this is created by the lead Garbage Pail Kids artist, John Simcoe, and it's based on this animated series that is in production, I believe. Craniacs TV series. It says in active development from animation studio Titmouse, who did Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So it's something that's coming out. So if you've heard anything about this, if this is on your radar and you're just a big Garbage Pail Kids fan and you want like updated version of this for a new generation, check out Craniacs from Titan. Then we have Yuletide from Oni Press. This is written by George Northey with art by Rochelle Aragno. And it says, have you ever wondered why our brightly colored and cheerful Christmas festivities are held at the peak of winter's frigid darkness? That's no mere coincidence, and now the truth about the monsters the Yuletide holds at bay will finally be revealed. So yeah, if you like Christmas stories with a little bit of mystery, with a little bit of kind of fun horror aspects of it. It says it's in the tradition of the Goonies, Hocus Pocus, and Goosebumps. So if you're a fan of any of those kind of things, you might like this. Next up, we have Dynamite Blood Red, issue 1. So I've never read any of the Dynamite stuff. This is by Fred Van Lente and Marco Finnegan. So if you are a fan of that, zombie hordes and all that stuff, you might want to check that one out. And real quick, I'll mention briefly Mark Spears' Monsters, The Monster and the Wolf. I think it got delayed. I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. It is scheduled to come out this week as well, so I want to remind you about that. 30 Days of Night, Falling Sun, issue 1. If you are a fan of the 30 Days of Night franchise, wanted to make you aware of this one. This is a 48-page book for $3.99. $5.99. Sorry, $5.99. This is written by Rodney Barnes with art by Chris Shahan. So check that one out. And then finally, I have one shout out, which is Bigfoot Knows Karate, issue number 1. This is by Dan Price. Written and illustrated by Dan Price, also co-written by Casey Allen. And the reason this is a shout out is because I have met Dan Price. He's a local creator to my general area. Um, Really cool guy. I actually got a picture of myself holding his. He's got a championship belt that he takes to conventions, and if I can find it, I'll put it on the screen here. But there's a picture of me holding his championship belt. I think I'm wearing an AEW T-shirt at the time as well. So just fun. It's a fun concept, uh, fun art style, and everything. So definitely check out Bigfoot Knows Karate issue number 1. And with that, we're going to jump into those new number 1 issues coming out next week. All right, first up we have Hectoplasm Hunt the Bigfoot. Speaking of Bigfoot, another Bigfoot story here. We've got a ghost hunter, Hectoplasm, who has fought all kinds of things, but this series of murders has kind of led him down a different path on the path of Bigfoot. So now this ghost hunter is trying to track Bigfoot. This is written by Benito Cereno with art by Derek Hunter and Spencer Holt, and this is from Image Comics. Which so that's interesting. Definitely spooky season theme. So who knows? I'm going to give it a possibly good. There is I believe Ryan Otley does the cover for this as well. Next, from Marvel Comics, we have Fantastic Four / Gargoyles, issue number 1. Marvel's first family unites with the Manhattan Clan in this exciting crossover. It looks like Tony Stark and Xanatos compare facial hair in this as well. So there's going to be some fun comedic stuff as well. This is written by Greg Weisman, who created Gargoyles, and I believe, and Enid Ballum is the artist on this. So that's cool because Gargoyles, they're very much a family dynamic, and Fantastic Four, obviously the first family of Marvel. It makes sense for these characters to be crossing over. So it could be a fun one, right? So I'm going to give this one a potentially good. Next up is a new series from Mad Cave called Terabytes, issue number 1. This is written by Mark Russell with art by Felix Ruiz. And this is kind of delving into, as it puts it here, our digital existence, uncharted territories of human consciousness shaped by technological evolution. So yeah, we're going into speculative fiction and all that kind of stuff, dealing with identity and how that wraps up into a digital age that we're living in. And Mark Russell is known for these kind of books that kind of deal with deeper issues and that kind of thing. So but Mad Cave, as I always say, puts out a lot of great books, so I'm definitely going to give this one a shot, and I'm going to give this one a potentially good. Next up from Bad Idea Comics is Save Now. This is written by Matt Kindt with art by Thomas Giarello. And this is an interesting concept where this character is able to basically create real life save points for any time period in their life and go and relive it from that point forward. So basically they get an instant do-over from these save points in real life. So that's a real interesting concept, taking that popular mechanic from video games and applying it to a real life situation. Could be interesting to see how that plays forward. Matt Kindt, obviously acclaimed writer. Thomas Giarello has worked on Star Wars. This is a 40-page book for $5.99, and there is also an alternate timeline edition of this book where basically this is a 1 in 250 variant, but it has a unique ending. So the ending to this particular version of the book is completely different than the main book. So if you get this 1 in 250 variant, you can actually see it play out a different way, which I think is a really creative experiment with comics, and I think that's pretty cool and that's worth mentioning. So obviously for both of these, I'm going to give it potentially good. And I don't know if I'll be able to get my hands on this or not. But it is a really interesting concept and definitely worth checking out. Next from Distillery, we have Endeavour, issue number 1. And the reason I'm putting this on here is because Stephanie Phillips is writing this. She also wrote Life, Harley Quinn, Grimm. She's writing Spider-Gwen and Binary, I believe, that I talked about earlier. So I just love Stephanie Phillips writing. I think she's fantastic. I follow her on social. Her commentary on the process and everything is really cool too. So anything she puts out, I tend to check out. In this one, we're going back to the 1700s, and we're following James Cook, Lieutenant James Cook, on this voyage of discovery around Tahiti, New Zealand, and Australia. But now we're going to the present, where a modern day tourism company is offering this luxury trip aboard this recreation of this famous ship. And Yeah, obviously things are gonna not go great, right? Because what kind of story would it be if they did? It's called A Vacation of a Lifetime, until seven children are stuck aboard the ship and left alone, adrift at sea. And Yeah, so very interesting concept for that as well. Uh, and again, it says for fans of Lord of the Flies on Yellow Jackets. I love Yellow Jackets. I think it's a fantastic series. And again, Stephanie Phillips at the helm. I have high hopes for this, and I'm going to give it a promisingly good, because I trust in Stephanie Phillips. Next is our only non number one issue on the list, which is Rogue Sun issue number 30. And the reason that this one is on the list this week is because Medieval Spawn is guest starring in this issue. So if you're a big Spawn fan and you tend to pick up like all those issues that some Spawn character is in, this is one to get. So Medieval Spawn appearing in Rogue Sun. And Yeah, I don't know how that's going to play out, or how, because I didn't even realize they were. I mean, obviously they're both published by Image Comics, so there's a potential for a crossovers to happen. But I believe this is the first crossover with the main like Image universe, with the Massive Verse that we've seen. I could be wrong about that. There could have been something in one of those early books, the Massiverse books. I don't recall, but I do believe it's the first appearance of Medieval Spawn, though. So, and I'm a fan of this series. It's always a fun read, and it's been a lot better since they added a second Rogue Sun, with his sister, or half sister being having a sunstone of her own, and them kind of both fighting crime together, but at odds at the same time. It's made for a more interesting dynamic. So yeah, check out Rogue Sun. For me, I'm giving this one a promisingly good. Getting into those X-Men Age of Revelation books, because there are a lot this week as well. We've got Sinister's 6 issue number 1. This one is written by David Marquez with art by Rafael Loureiro. You had me at David Marquez. Kat and I talked about all these Age of Revelation books on Comic Book Weekly last week. So if you want to go check that out, we kind of gave our overall thoughts on which books might be skipped for us, which ones we'll definitely be picking up. And it seemed like they always gave us a reason to to take a chance on one of these. In this one in particular, there were two things. It was David Marquez writing it, plus it was some of the characters involved, specifically Black Cat, for both of us. And I'm also a big Havoc fan. So we've got Havoc and Black Cat here. We've got Domino, Omega Red, Phantom X, and Venom as well involved in this. So it's going to be interesting to see where those characters are in the future and why they're tied up with Mr. Sinister. For this one, I'm going to give this one also a promisingly good. Then we have Iron and Frost, and this is playing on that storyline, that crossover with Emma Frost and Tony Stark, where they pretended to get married and all that stuff during all that X-Men event and Iron Man. It was crossing over with the Iron Man series. So now in the future, it says 3K's devastating terror attack cost Tony Stark and Emma Frost everything. So the Heartless Queen returns to what remains of her past. Secrets hide in the ruins of New York. The Hellfire Club has a dangerous new leader. So I don't know what happened, if they ended up getting together and Tony Stark died. That's kind of what this cover maybe alludes to. We don't know for sure exactly what happened. But I loved their relationship, and their personalities really meshed together well. So anytime you're putting those two in a book, I'm paying attention. And yeah, this is of course set in the future. This is written by Kevin Scott, who really solid writer. Art by I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that. There it is. You can read it for yourself. Uh, but yeah, I'm really curious about this one. So I'm definitely on board for the first issue, and I'm also giving this one a promisingly good. We have Rogue Storm issue number one, and this is one that I'm kind of on the fence about. This is written by oh, I'm not gonna try to pronounce that one either. I'll just leave it right there. Roland Bashi is the artist. You can see the writer right there. But anyway, in this one, I think Rogue has to try to kill Storm. Full disclosure, my computer just crashed in the middle of this video, so I don't know where I left off. So if this is a little choppy, that is why. But anyway, in this story, Storm is threatening to freeze the world into a new ice age, and Rogue is leading a team of killers, including Gateway, Iceman, Phantom X, who keeps popping up everywhere, apparently, Spiral, and Warpath, and they're basically the Uncanny X-Force, and they have to kill Storm. So this is the only one really that I've been on the fence with so far. Just don't know if I'm feeling this one, so I'm going to give this one a potentially good. The other ones have been pretty solid, so, you know, we'll see. And the last book we have to talk about is Unbreakable X-Men issue 1, which is basically the continuation of Uncanny X-Men. This is written by Gail Simone with art by Lucas Wernick. And yeah, we're dealing with the Penumbra, which was that arc of Uncanny X-Men where the new kids, Deathstream, etc., went down into that underground thing that Gambit had a connection to, and all this stuff where they had to fight this like demon or whatever. So we're dealing with that. There's a portal there, and they have to kind of protect it. They're at Haven House and all this stuff. The X-Men have been completely shattered. We don't exactly know the cast of characters in the book at this point. So yeah, this one, I don't know how to feel about it because I didn't love that particular arc in Uncanny X-Men. I am going to try it out, of course, but for now, I'm going to give it a potentially good. And that is it for the first issues. I'm going to really quickly go over a few other books that I am looking forward to. Absolute Flash number 8, we're getting the origins of Fort Fox and Barry Allen's experiments in this issue. This book has gotten better and back on track the past couple issues, so I'm excited for that one. G.I. Joe number 12 is a standalone tale all about Night Force. In this one, it's a covert op and the first appearance of the character Shooter, so definitely looking forward to that as well. One World Under Doom number 8, this is the final issue, I believe, so we're going to see how this all wraps up and concludes. So I'm curious to see how it all ends. Invincible Universe Battle Beast issue number 6. This book won me over. After kind of feeling a little iffy after issue 2, but Battle Beast is going to war in this one as this big threat emerges, and it says one longtime fans of Invincible will recognize. So excited to see what that is. Wonder Woman issue number 26. We got introduced to the matriarch last issue. I'm a little on the fence of whether I'm liking this story or not, but I'm still curious about this character and the implications going forward. So I'm definitely going to check this issue out at least and make a determination from there. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder issue number 2. Issue 1 was really good. I really enjoyed that story of Shredder coming back into play, and we'll see what his story holds for him going forward and how it connects to the Turtles. Then we've got Racer X number 2. The first one was a lot of exposition, a lot of narration, a lot of him recapping everything, but it kind of played right into issue 3 of Speed Racer. So yeah, I'm really curious to see the next stage of Racer X's evolution here as the story continues. And then Amazing Spider-Man issue number 14. It's on here because really, I don't know. I liked last issue, but it was the cosmic side of it. Now we're going back to the Norman side of it, which I like so far. I don't know. I just wish these were separate books so we wouldn't have this jarring, contrast of stories and art styles and everything issue to issue. But I still am looking forward to it. But with that said, that's it. That's all the books I have to talk about. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please consider giving a thumbs up. And if you don't want to miss any of the other content on this channel, any episodes of First, hit that subscribe and notification bell. Of course, you can follow me across social media, including TikTok, at Only Good Comics, or type in onlygoodcomics.com to take you right back to this YouTube channel where we talk about only good comics. Until next time, thanks for watching. Take care. Keep reading those comics, and I'll see you soon. Bye.